Okay, we generally start our meetings with public input. We've had plenty of public input on the Kruger Road. Does anybody want to speak on something other than Kruger Road? Larry, that's volume, that's yours. Can you hear me now? Ken, can we shut at least one door and calm it down? Okay, can people hear me now? Okay. Normally we start with public input, and I would ask that we speak on something, anything other than the Kruger Road issue. Does anybody have anything they wish to speak about? Go ahead, Dan.
Not exactly about sidewalks. I want a clarification on the motions that we'll be talking about later. Resolved that the intention of the town board...
No, it's too loud.
Too close. I'll just step back. That receiving this grant... the next one. Resolved that the intention of the town board to accept the responsibility of maintenance of the sidewalk, including snow removal and repair initially, which, however, may change in the future due to the passage of the local law requiring the adjacent property owner to the maintenance. This is very wishy-washy. I think we need a definite answer.
This board cannot lock in a future board. A future board could change that by town law.
Well, they can. Why don't you
my
write
motion,
the law, and they can change the law later? I want to know right now who's going to maintain them, and who's going to be responsible for them. That can be changed later, but I think before you pass this resolution, I think you need to clarify that not tomorrow this town board will access property owners with the assessment increase in their property, and then the town will not maintain them, the property owners will. That could happen right after you pass this. I want this town board to stop being wishy-washy and start being a little more definite on their answers.
that was put in there by the town attorney because he knows we cannot lock in future boards.
No, I'm saying you pass a law, another law can be passed getting rid of it, right?
Perhaps.
Can it?
Perhaps that...
Why don't you guys make a definite answer so the rest of the town residents will understand what's going on?
Thank
and
you for your comment.
Okay? You got to stop being wishy-washy. Make a definite answer.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Kathy, for the record, all members are present. We do have a set of minutes from the June 19th meeting. Does anybody wish to move those in for approval? So moved. Moved by Gil. Need a second? Second by Randy.
Second.
Anything that anybody wishes to change? If not, then all in favor of approving the minutes signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Bill payment. The bill payment this month is for $228,000, $228,056.15. Vouchers 2017 1052 through 1187. I need a motion to pay these bills.
Second.
Moved by Larry, second by Art. Any bills that anybody wishes to hold? All in favor of approving these bills?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved. Start with departments. Paul, what's going on in highway? Everywhere.
goes back up again. We did have some, but fortunately, I don't believe you guys did on Friday night. There was, I reported some of the 2 or 3 inches of rain for a period of time. I was actually on vacation, but I came home to everyone touch that. 4 hours later, the water was all gone. Something's working. I think you can only take so much rain at one time. You gotta give it a little chance. We'll put the water in. I know Roll Road deals with it all the time. We have some different roads that have problems. Today was rain issues from there. We get downpour. That's why. Then it has some water sitting for a while. So after the 2 hours, I think it's working pretty close. Well, I know that, and I will tell you that before I left the vacation, I went over and shut that one-way down. I got to be very good, but I was a lot closer, so I know when I actually did a lot closer. I shut that one-way down. When I came home Saturday morning, I checked it. Water in the lake is 2 foot lower than the water in the creek. So the south lake is taking a lot of water from Water Road. Now, we're actually only about 2 feet of it. How do I feel probably about like 8 feet of water running the foot? Where the line from, where the time into that truck out of Water Road, you have to get more water. But I'm beginning to think that's where we're having issues. I think if that gets close to time, that could be more than that. I'm not so sure that that lake can handle that water that's back into the road there. That it can't handle the additional water from the road. You want to open up that canal, that keeps the flame. That doesn't have a lot of so once the water does start going down a certain level, it doesn't flow as fast. So if you open up that thing that you're on gate, it does seem to flow a lot faster. So it's just a nipples thing. I got to not throw a gear in there, and I have a little bit of issue. I'm trying to get over it every time I rain coming or I'm going out of town. I've been trying to go over it.
I could see that.
I was just curious, when technology in the year 2017 will call another town, that banking thing, I mean, do you always, is it always going to be like that? That your person, your one has to count the banking or the
The way it's going to be, I mean, that was, how much was that when you put that in, about $50?
I think it was in the 30s, yeah.
30-something. I mean, if you want to put something electronic on it with a float, for the year, it's probably really on the number, it'd be outrageous.
No, I'm just really asking. I mean, I know I get used to it,
It's gonna be something.
but I've never.
Okay, this is for departments, yeah, this is for departments, not for bantering back and forth.
You can call me anytime in my office.
All right.
I have to tell you that in the last couple of years, we've been impressed with the amount of treatment that's been going on in that area. People have done a really good job. Well, can you tell me, on the website, do you publish a schedule of the streets that are going to be repaved?
A lot of times my schedule is dictated by outside contractors. If we know a road, they usually let me know. They'll give me a broad idea of when it's going to be. Once in the weather, being the way the weather is, you have to be if you go, if you know you're going to pave your road, you can't go too much from your front door. You got to go next week, you wouldn't pave it. Not everybody checks their front door. We never have that. We check our front door. We don't check our front door. Well, I can't go and change the guy's house. I can't take the mail out. So that's where the left circle is on the front door. Once they roll it away,
So do you know at the beginning of the year, what streets are going to be repaved on?
yes, I told Julie Corbin, the town board, that too.
Is there any way that that can be put on the website so that we can periodically, other people who want to see their road paved periodically
It-
check?
The 284 agreement could go up on the website. There's no reason why we can't get it up there.
I actually thought it was on the website.
It might be, it should be in your department. Paul, I got a question on suit coat. When we do suit coat type paving, do we do that work or we hire suit coat?
Michael Payton,
Micropaving.
that's their job. Not really flat top job, so.
I think you'll agree that some of the work they did at Dewey was not best quality. Is there anything they can do to make that better?
Well, I don't know if it's their fault or if it's that, I realize it's dark today.
I think it's a combination of both, actually.
And that was so we could get the lawnmower trailer and let the trailer down and the
That's
van
right.
wasn't a big chunk of road out, it wasn't that bad. There's little stones in these microwaves. It's almost like a little chip seal, but, you know, a lot less stone. I understand people can't go over there and stuff on the road and try to name it. I have can't do my road. Can't. I can do a microwave.
But my question is, can Sudco do something about that?
Well, there was garbage truck mark, I mean, I didn't see, there was some on the front of the curb, basically the big rag behind the truck, with the car and everything, spread out. So it isn't unique, either a chip seal, you'll have all kinds of little stones.
Do we have them coming back? Not this year.
But I did have a word with Sudco, and for, I'm gonna get the car off. There is a little car up on it, it'll wear off. Most of these that I get complaints from, with microwaving, within 6 months, they'll say, you know what, the road's clean, I didn't run it. It takes a while for it to work.
Okay. Anything else for Paul?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I knew that, I was at a meeting a couple months ago, and our road was supposed to be paved with $30-some thousand, and I was at the meeting when we took our road money and gave it to other roads. Could you tell me why you did that? And then it came, it just patches all over the road. But why did you take our money and
We
give
amended
it
the
to?
284 agreement, and we did stencil, we stencil one time the original. We did stencil instead of homeowner.
You're not answering my you're not answering my question.
Yes,
I
we
was
are.
at the meeting when we had the motion
Can I finish?
that took that
Can I
money
finish?
from us.
Debbie, please.
Let me finish. The reason why I didn't pay for the road is, I don't know which way we're going with sidewalks. I'm not gonna put brand new blacktop on a road, and end up putting sidewalks in, and have a dump truck put in a brand new road. That's what I'm waiting for.
Which you have stated in the past.
Yeah, he said it at the meeting.
I'd like to commend the, fellow, superintendent for the great job that he does here. We removed a number of shrubs at our house, brought them to the road, and they were taken very, very quickly. You guys always do a great job, and, we really appreciate it.
Hang on. Well, he's already stated that. This is in the board's hands at this point. There is one other thing, Paul. The collapse, is that the right word, over on Plaza Drive? Have we ever reached agreement with Matt and their people, and the other guy there, the owner?
We discussed it before I left last Friday, I talked to him a little bit. He pretty much said it was waived, so we have to make a decision on how we're gonna go about doing it. You don't have a right of way to it, you don't have access to it, there's a hole in it.
You know, the only thing then would be that Mike could condemn the property. If you agree that it's a violation. Somebody could, if they climbed over that fence, could fall right in. Okay, thank you, Paul.
Well, Supervisor Cliff, Paul's gotta leave, if we could do the second motion in the motion packet. I'll make that motion to authorize, the highway department to advertise to hire a truck driver. Yes. I know it's a long posting process with the union and everything. We have to follow protocol but I'll make that motion so Paul can be here while we vote on it.
I'll second it. This isn't a new job, it's a replacement job for one of his employees that retired. Correct, Paul?
They're also down in there right now, they went off on top. I think it's been down 11 months right now.
Okay, anything else on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I'm opposed, so it's 4-1. That's approved.
I have one question for
Now,
Paul.
that's a question of posting, right? To advertise, yes, that's right.
I have one question for, it concerns Paul, but it's really not a question to Paul. I live on Hunt Street, where the bridge is closed at the end of Hunt Street, 6671. It's a county bridge and a town road. It's closed by the state. So essentially, we have a problem. The county, I know, does not want to replace that road. I've been after the county for 2.5 years, numerous meetings with them, numerous phone calls before it got closed. The state went and closed it despite everybody's best efforts to keep it open. It's an old wood bridge. I understand it needs to be closed. I live on the end of the street, so I really don't care if it stays open. I really don't care if it ever reopens. So what I do care about is the fact that it seems we have a standoff between the county and the town as whether this is going to stay open or closed. I don't care what it does much, but I do care that I have barrels at the end of my road. I have barriers at the end of my road. I got a big street sign in the middle of the front of the road. It looks, I mean, I sunk a sizable amount of money in my street, and it looks like I should live at the end of the dump. And like I said, the town, I've approached the county numerous times about it before it was ever closed, because I knew it was getting close. I talked to the engineers that were surveying it. Again, I know the bridge cannot be reopened. I don't care about that, but I don't want to live with barrels, flashing lights, and cones for the rest of my life.
I think that's a discussion you need to have with Paul, because the county's plan on that bridge is they don't have a plan.
You're right, but I have
Their intention is to try to get a grant so that they don't have to pay for the full replacement of that bridge. And whether that happens or not this year, next year, the year after, is probably going to determine whether they're ready to redo that bridge. It's a substantial amount of money that they're looking at, like somewhere around $1.5 million for that.
These are the politically correct answers. Yep. But the problem is I know,
but
as far as bridges go, that's at the very, very bottom of the grant list because it is a non-essential bridge. Their best bet is to always keep these barriers up and keep everybody off their back. It's not a town problem, I understand that. It has nothing to do with you guys. But the only way I can get anywhere is if you guys apply pressure on them to do something other than leave Sean with barriers and road signs.
I've actually already done that. We have not done it. The board has not done any resolving on that, but I have. As far as the things that are blocking off the road, I guess that's up to Paul. It's his road. So.
Which the kids throw in the ditch every week.
Yeah, exactly.
That. I have the cops down there constantly. It's a nut, and that's again. I know everyone's trying to work with me on this.
What I had asked him is, couldn't we just put a 1-ton load limit or a 2-ton load limit on the road and stay on it until they can get it repaired? And he said no. The state shut it down.
They park water trucks on there to fill them with water for the hydroseeders, and they're not going to pay any attention. Yeah. Anyways, that's my gripe is I don't know what else to do. The county won't even call me back anymore on this.
Okay, we're into business at this point, Sean. I think you can bring this up again at public input at the end of the meeting if you wish, but we need to move along.
Sure.
Thank you. Rich is not here, correct? If he's here, he's hiding. Okay. Recreation, Mike? Nothing? Why don't you tell us a little about the town picnic, when that's going to come up?
Sunday, is this on? Sorry. Sunday, August 27th.
Late this year.
It is late this year. We will have flag raising at 11 a.m. We have a lot of things for the kids. We have our classic car show, which usually brings out between 50 and 100 cars, depending on the weather. We have, I think, St. John's doing the church service. That'll start at 10. And then
the rumors out there is that we're seeking additional sponsorship.
We are. We're always looking for new businesses. It doesn't even have to be a business. We'll take donations from residents too. I've had residents step up and donate for some of our baseball and softball programs, which is nice. And a lot of them don't even want the recognition. They just want to call them the Blue Jays. And so that's a really cool thing. So if anybody is interested, or if you know a business that's just trying to get some recognition, we do put a insert into the Tribune, which will go out to every resident and every household and apartment in the town, and you'll get recognized for sponsoring it can be anything from, you know, a basket raffle to an event or just a donation to the picnic. The picnic is not funded through the town. It's planned, coordinated by a committee that I sit on. We start in September planning, coordinating events, times, logistics, and it's just something that has brought the community together at a good time to kind of end the summer after all the other towns kind of do their thing, and it just grows each year.
It's run by a group of volunteers, not by the town, although Mike is certainly involved. We help set it up and we help tear it down, and we tend to take care of the garbage, but the expenditures come from donations.
Actually, I guess while I'm up here, I did want to thank the county for opening their park up to us for the 4th of July fireworks last week. Their grounds crew did a fantastic job. I also want to thank St. Johnsburg and Burkholz for providing fire protection. Our town constables, they were patrolling all day along with the sheriffs, so I want to thank those two crews as well.
Another very good event. Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Mike Clock, anything? Anything for Mike? Is Bridget still here? Bridget? There she is, hiding with Mike. Anything, Bridget? Anything for Bridget? Then we're up to Arlene. You don't look busy back there now. Very good. You're gonna have to tell me when, so I can come over and get a free meal. Oh, there you go. I like it. It's right up my alley. Good. Yeah, thank you. Anything for Arlene? Then we're up to Tim. I've got to ask you, Tim, where do we stand with the bid specs for the fence?
Sure, yes, we have actually had a bid out on the street. Our bid package for the project, for the fence project, has been out for almost 2 weeks now. Our bids are due next Monday at 4 o'clock, and they should be opened at the board meeting at 7:30.
Excellent.
We've got 4 different groups that picked up plans, so hopefully we've got 4 good competitive bids.
And these bid specs, if it gets too expensive, we can still reject, correct?
I believe the town always has the caveat that they have the authority to reject all bids.
Okay, thank you. Anything for Tim? Okay, then we'll move on to motions, Matt.
Yes. First motion on the listed agenda from town attorney to schedule a public hearing for proposed local law number 5 for the year 2017 for the town of Wheatfield regarding a fair housing policy. Said public hearing is to be held on August, and that's a date to be determined at a time to be determined at the Wheatfield Town Hall prior to a regularly scheduled board meeting.
Okay, when do we want to, does anybody wish to make a motion and pick a date?
So moved. You can set the date, Bob. The first meeting in August?
The 7th.
We may be on rezoning that night. That may be an interesting one. 7 and 21, right?
Yeah, 21st.
How about the 21st, Matt? Does that work?
That should be fine. This is definitely not a rush.
August 21st at 7:15 p.m. And Gil made the motion. I do need a second. Second by Art. Anything on the question? If not, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
Next motion on the agenda sheet, we've already taken care of with, Paul before he left. Next motion is from Town Supervisor and Town Attorney to authorize and approve the execution by the Town Supervisor of an agreement between the Town of Wheatfield and the Western New York Land Conservancy to procure services to the Town of Wheatfield as listed in the agreement regarding farmland protection and purchase development rights in the Town of Wheatfield. Said agreement for services in the amount of $7,000, and said funds have already been allocated by the town, NAFTA, and NIMAC. The agreement will result in a study and report created by the Western New York Land Conservancy to assist Town of Wheatfield to help make its farms more competitive for state and federal farmland protection funds.
I've got to pay this bill, so I can't make the motion. Does anybody wish to make this motion?
I'll make the motion.
Randy made the motion, and Larry seconds. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion is as follows: whereas the Code of the Town of Wheatfield contains and specifies the local laws and ordinances of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas the town has developed draft language for an amendment to the subdivision chapter of the Code of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas in accordance with Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8, the State Environmental Quality Review Act of the Environmental Conservation Law, the Wheatfield Town Board has conducted an environmental review of this code revision base mapping requirement for major subdivisions, and whereas the town has identified there are no other permitting or approving agencies for this action, and whereas a public hearing was held regarding this subdivision code amendment on June 19, 2017, and comments from the public were received and noted, and whereas pursuant to municipal home rule, the town board is proposing to adopt this subdivision code amendment by enacting a local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wheatfield Town Board, in accordance with State Environmental Quality Review Act, has determined that the proposed amendment of Chapter 169, Subdivision of Land, by amending Article 5, specifically 169-26B, will not adversely affect the natural resources of the state and or the health, safety, and welfare of the public, and is consistent with the social and economic considerations, and therefore issues the attached seeker negative declaration in accordance with 617.7 of the seeker regulations, and be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign the environmental assessment form, which will act as the negative declaration.
Does anybody wish to make the seeker motion? I'll go ahead and make the motion. I do need a second. Second by Art. Now, this is just the seeker on this at this point.
Correct. The actual local law resolution is the next item.
There's nobody here from the focus group to discuss it. Okay, just on the seeker motion, if there's nothing further, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That is approved.
Okay, next motion, as we said, is the follow-up local law enactment. Whereas the Code of the Town of Wheatfield contains and specifies the local laws and ordinances of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas the town has developed and amendment to the subdivision of land chapter of the Code of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas pursuant to municipal home rule law, the town board is proposing to adopt this subdivision code amendment by enacting local law number 4 of 2017 as follows. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, New York, that the Wheatfield Town Board amends the subdivision code of the Town of Wheatfield as follows. Amend Chapter 169, Subdivision of Land, by deleting existing Paragraph B under Section 169-26 Sketch Plan and adding new Paragraph B as attached. And whereas the Wheatfield Town Board held the required public hearing on the proposed law on June 19, 2017, and comments from the public were received and noted, and whereas the Wheatfield Town Board has determined the proposed subdivision of land code amendment will not result in any significant negative effect on the environment and has issued a negative declaration, now therefore be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, New York, local law number 4 of the year 2017, which amends Chapter 169, subdivision of land, by deleting Paragraph B under 169-26 and adding a new Paragraph B that requires a base map as follows. And I guess in the interest of time, it's as presented in the motion. I'll skip reading that.
Okay, this is the motion that has been worked on by the focus group for a couple of years. They were in here with a public hearing and did give it to us. There is nobody here that I can see in that group, so there's nobody to ask questions to this evening. With that being said, does anybody wish to make this motion to approve this change in zoning?
So moved.
Okay, we have motion by Randy,
Second.
second by Gil. I suppose if somebody does want to ask questions, Tim's probably at least familiar with this law. You were here for the public hearing. Are you familiar with the reasoning for the law? The concept comes out of the Conservation Cluster Subdivision Law,
Right.
and it's being passed along to any law in the sense that at the beginning of any new subdivision, the developer would have to give us one more drawing, one more piece of engineering that shows us what the land is in its present state before they show us what they have proposed.
That's correct. Correct. Currently, what you typically get is a boundary survey that gives your boundary information and topography, which is the contours, gives the lay of the land and spot elevations. So what this does is it takes it a step further and it asks them to look and show other things, mature tree areas, if there's wetland areas or streams, just to get a more kind of comprehensive environmental overview of the site, so that when they go into planning on how that site is going to be developed, you can see those features and say, okay, this is an important feature, we want to protect this, so let's concentrate the development in other areas.
Thank you, Tim. Anybody with any other questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that is approved.
Next motion's from the town supervisor. Whereas the town of Wheatfield has previously resolved to put forth a grant application to the New York State Department of Transportation for assistance in the possible construction of a sidewalk on one side of Kruger Road in the town of Wheatfield. And whereas in response to said grant application, the New York State Department of Transportation has offered a TAP grant in the amount of $756,000 for the purpose of building a sidewalk along one side of Kruger Road in the town of Wheatfield. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Wheatfield accepts the proposed New York State Department of Transportation TAP grant offered for a sidewalk construction along one side of Kruger Road in the amount of $756,000 for said purpose of building a sidewalk upon one side of Kruger Road in the town of Wheatfield. It is further resolved that it is the intention of the town board in receiving this grant, there shall be no special tax district created for the payment of the remaining share to complete this project, although the town reserves the right to do so if necessary. And it is further resolved that it is the intention of the town board to accept the responsibility of maintenance of the sidewalk, including snow removal and repair, initially, which however may be changed in the future by a passage of a local law requiring adjacent property owner maintenance. And it is also resolved that after the opening of the construction bids and prior to the approval of said bids for the construction of said sidewalk and its appurtenances, if the bids are higher than presently estimated construction costs, the town board retains the authority to again vote and to rescind this resolution as to whether to proceed and or modify the scope of the project, rebid and or cancel the project, and reject the New York State Department of Transportation TAP grant.
That is my motion, and I will make that motion. Do we have a second? Gentlemen, I need a second to proceed. I don't have a second, so I should limit my own conversation, but I do believe that this is a unique opportunity and a unique situation, that we can get this job done and make it safer for people. If my children lived in that area or my grandchildren lived in that area, I would want to see this sidewalk. The cost of the sidewalk we can handle out of our savings account, our fund, what we call fund balance out of our savings account. I don't think there would be a risk. It would be down the road a ways for running out of money. It wouldn't happen because of this one project. And I do think we should proceed. Do we have a second? The last time, do we have a second? Okay, without a second, we cannot proceed. So this is on hold. What's your next motion?
I have, next motion from the Recreation Department, motion to hire Michael Rickbart as a tennis instructor for the town's tennis camp that will run to September 2017. Mr. Richbart is a returning employee. Said hiring is subject to the wage and job specifications for said position, and hiring is contingent upon final review by the town's Human Resource Department and a Niagara County Sheriff Department background record check.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Gil, second by Larry. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
I have a late resolution from the grant writer, which is as follows. Whereas the town board desires to continue the process of acquiring funds to complete the town of Wheatfield Municipal Agricultural and Farmland Implementation Plan to review farmland zoning laws, and whereas the town board desires to apply for financial assistance from the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program, and whereas the town board commits to providing the required $750 in local matching funds in cash to ensure the timely implementation of the proposed project, therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes and submits an application for the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program for the Wheatfield Municipal Agricultural Farmland Implementation Plan in the total project amount of $18,750 and will request $15,000 in grant funding. Be therefore it further resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to sign all documents and agreements related to the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program. Resolved that Robert Cliff, as supervisor of the town of Wheatfield, is hereby authorized and directed to file an application for grant funds from the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program in the amount of $15,000 for the approved funding, and upon approval of said request to enter into and execute a project agreement with the New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets Program for such financial assistance to the town of Wheatfield for the proposed of the Wheatfield Municipal Agricultural and Farmland Implementation Plan.
Does anybody wish to make this motion?
I'll make that motion.
We needed second. Second by Art. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Yeah. You want me to bring that up? Okay, I talked to our grant writer today, having a feeling how this was gonna go on the sidewalks, and he did call Albany, and what Bernie got from Albany is we would have to submit to Albany a revised application, because this is in effect the same area as putting shoulders, 30-inch shoulders, excavation, 24-inch paved. And I did some quick numbers a couple weeks ago, I think, and I talked to Mr. Tim Zuber from Wendell, and if it was to be bid out, I think with the prevailing wage it would be around $200,000. Okay, I threw some numbers, and Tim seems to feel that that's a fair number. Okay, so I'm going to ask that we have a motion to ask Bernie, our grants writer, to submit a revised plan. With that, he's going to need some information from you, Tim, and you can call Bernie and see what is required by the state. The state did not rule it out. They said that they would be open, possibly, to giving us some money towards that. With that being said, I did talk to Paul Sigmund, our highway guy. He said if he did it in-house, obviously our cost would go way down. Time would be the issue there, is if he could find the time to do it yet this year. So I think I'd like to have a motion made to at least, if you don't put your hand out, nobody's going to put nothing in it. We found that out. We got to try to get this money. I agree it's a narrow road. I think we all know it's a narrow road. Not a lot has changed on Kruger Road. A lot around Kruger Road has changed with the development. And I think it's worth a chance of doing it with outside contractors, or if nothing else, with our personnel. So at this point, I would like to see if we can get some answers by next Monday night and utilize some of this money.
And as a result of that directive by Councilman Retzloff, and it's not in the package because it was just prepared just recently, a proposed secondary motion as follows. Whereas the Town Board of Wheatfield has been investigating the possibility of placement of a sidewalk along Kruger Road since the tragic events of November 2014, wherein a young man was struck and killed in the roadway of Kruger Road in a hit-and-run impact, and whereas the Town of Wheatfield has applied for a TAP grant in order to assist the financing of the possible construction of said investigated sidewalk, and whereas the Town of Wheatfield was recently informed it received a TAP grant in the amount of $756,000 for potential sidewalk construction, which any remaining amount for construction and additional expense would be the town's responsibility in the construction of said sidewalk. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield greatly appreciates said proposed TAP grant for placing sidewalks on Kruger Road, and whereas subsequent to the grant proposal becoming public and also subsequent to the awarding of said grant funds, numerous residents in the area of Kruger have reported to the Town Supervisor, Town Board, and Town of Wheatfield they are in opposition and some in favor of the construction of said sidewalks. And in addition, several board members have gone door to door along Kruger Road, and the Town Supervisor has done a public straw poll with numerous responses, the vast majority of which were opposed to construction of the sidewalk along Kruger Road. Whereas the Town Board works in response to the will of the people and also taking into account the town's role in public safety. And whereas since the awarding of the aforementioned TAP grant in the amount of $756,000 for potential sidewalk construction, the option of widening the shoulders on each side of Kruger Road is being investigated as a second option in lieu of sidewalks to enhance Kruger Road and be more acceptable to the majority of residents of the Town of Wheatfield, both in and around the Kruger Road area and throughout the rest of the town. And whereas the option of increased shoulders on both sides of Kruger Road needs to be further investigated, engineering and construction costs need to be ascertained. And whereas the Town of Wheatfield Town Board wishes to investigate whether any of the aforementioned TAP grant funds might be permissibly allocated to the creation of enlarged shoulders on both sides of Kruger Road, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board resolves the Supervisor refrain from signing the approval of the DOT TAP grant in the approximate amount of $756,000 for sidewalks at the current time. It is also hereby resolved that the Town of Wheatfield shall undertake investigation of engineering and construction costs for increased shoulders on both sides of Kruger Road, and the town shall also investigate whether the previously awarded TAP grant funds may be utilized in some form for this project, and the town shall investigate other grants and financing options for the same. It is also hereby resolved the Town Board notes that it appreciates the full consideration from the Department of Transportation, but chooses not to proceed with the sidewalk along Kruger Road at this time, but rather investigate shoulders.
I'll second Randy's motion.
Mr. Book, you stated that you were going to put in there that 70% of the people did not want it on Kruger Road. Mr. Cliff has copies of 54 people who, out of 75, said they did want the sidewalk with comments.
I didn't say any percentage. I know you just said 70%. I didn't.
You said that you had negative comments from people who did
Yeah,
not
but
want.
I didn't say a percentage. I think you just said 7.
Then maybe you should include these, the positive comments for the sidewalk.
It's not my resolution. It's a board member's resolution. You'd have to direct that question to the board member.
Any comments?
Randy, that was your...
I gave them to Mr. Cliff. Did you let them read them?
They were quite aware of it.
I understand your signatures. I understand everything that you have. Of what I've heard, I represent the people of the town. And the people of this town, of the 18,000, they do not want to be part of sidewalks. I'm telling you, I'm getting it from everywhere. Everywhere I go, everybody I talk to, they find me. People find me I haven't talked to in 15 years. They find me at a party. I went to St. Johnsburg Friday night. I thought the guy still lived on Pierce. Guess what? He lives on Kruger. They find me. I represent the people of this town. The people of this town don't want sidewalks. I'm trying to put shoulders on that road. Like Mr. Merton said, they have them in Burkle, but they have wide shoulders. Why are they on the shoulders? Because they're wide. They're probably 8 feet wide on Niagara Road. If we can put some shoulders on the road, I think it would make everybody happy. I don't want to put a ghost in the closet in 2017 that somebody's going to sit here in 2025 and say, why did you start this? I don't want to do that. So I would like to go with this motion and try to use this money to put shoulders on the road. I don't know that numbers of who's for, like somebody asked, if we want to have an election, we'd have 17,000 to maybe 800. I can tell you that. We don't have to go to an election. I can tell you what would happen. I don't know that numbers is going to affect what I'm trying to ask for. I'm trying to ask for money from the state to put shoulders on the road.
Why do you have a comprehensive plan for the town of Wheatfield that talks about making the community accessible to everyone through sidewalks, bike paths, and paths?
Okay.
Why is it in the comprehensive plan? Why do you have that? You all got together and put it, you had UB students help you make it up.
We've heard it all, Debbie,
I
and
know,
the board
don't
has
wanna
made their,
hear it.
and the board has made their
Don't wanna
decision.
hear it.
We're in the middle of a motion here.
We are in the middle of a...
We're doing town business now. The comment period was early. You can comment at the end of this.
I just have one question.
No, not at this, if I do it for one, I've got to do it for all. Okay, we do have, Randy, that was your motion?
That is correct.
And
I
believe
second
Art
it.
seconded.
I did.
Is there anything further on the question? If not, then all in favor of this motion signify by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Aye. I'm not in favor of this. So it does pass. The motion passes. Okay, is there anything else, Matt?
I do not have any further motions.
Okay, then we'll move on to board member items. Councilman Elway?
Question for Mike Clark, our building inspector. On the golf dome, Mike, have you heard any progress on, oh, you've issued a permit for the foundation? Okay. Have they given any indication how long construction's gonna be, or? Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for the update. That's all I have.
Okay, Councilman Doucette?
I have nothing this evening.
Councilman Gervich?
Yes, Western New York Volunteer Firemen's Association Convention, July 27th, 28th, and 29th, will be held here in the town grounds, I believe, Tent City on the town grounds,
And at the fire hall.
and at Frontier Fire Hall, and St. Johnsburg Fire Hall. Just for everyone, if you want to come on down and meet some of the local firemen, as well as firemen from afar, you're more than welcome. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Retzlaff?
I'm all set, thank you.
I have only one thing having to do with a note from the New York State of Opportunity Department of Public Service. They're stating that there is a meeting on the Niagara Mohawk Power Corporation or National Grid request for a price increase, and that meeting will be held in Buffalo at the Erie County Library in Buffalo on August 1st. If anybody is interested in attending and wants information on that, I do have that information available. And that's basically all I have. I certainly hope that we do go ahead with this other proposal one way or the other and get that done. I doubt we can get it done this year unless we do the work ourselves. Okay, our next meeting is 1 week from today, July 17th. It was originally scheduled for the 17th. This one is originally scheduled for last week. We held it off to this week so we could have more people here to allow you to have your say. We'll go back to public input. Does anybody wish to speak on it? Lori?
May I read this last comment on behalf of Debbie Fidel? It's not long. So on behalf of Debbie, her question to you, Mr. Cliff, and to the board members is why did you waste the time, effort, and taxpayers' money to pursue the TAP grant for the Kruger Road Sidewalk project, requesting $756,000, 80%, in TAP funding, and saying the town was prepared to allocate $189,000, 20%, with no portion of the cost of construction of the project shall be assessed against the abutting properties and no special assessment district will be created, with the total project cost of $945,000, but had no intentions of applying the TAP grant to the Kruger Road sidewalk project if awarded. Myself and others feel you should be accountable for your actions and words. With all that is at stake for providing safety for all residents throughout our community, children, elderly, adults, and people with special needs in the town of Wheatfield, I find it appalling and very sad that Mr. Cliff, Larry Helwig, Gil Doucette, Art Gerbeck, and Randy Retzlaff did not place time or effort forth to read the New York State Department of Transportation 2016 TAP CMAQ grant application that requested attached project information before Mr. Cliff signed his name and before it was submitted to the Department of Transportation for the 2016 TAP grant on October 21st, 2016. And after being awarded the TAP grant in April of 2017, the information on the grant was still not read by the Town of Wheatfield board members, as I read this information at the town meeting in June 2017, and after reading, board members said they were not aware of this information as they had not read the TAP grant that was awarded to the town in April 2017. At our meeting with Mr. Cliff on July 6, 2017, he also told us he was not aware of the grant information, did not know that the town hall had copies of 662 signatures for the Kruger petition. As concerned, responsible citizens, we came together to seek out safety for the town of Wheatfield. Now it is up to you to move forward to show that you respect the needs of your residents. Thank you.
I'd like to address the board. My wife is Deborah. She's the one that's been behind all this. Caused a lot of problems on both sides. The biggest problem I see right now is that when she first came to the board, all we wanted was shoulders. We didn't ask for sidewalks, shoulders. Now, because all this stuff is going on, you decided we're going back to shoulders instead of sidewalks. You've wasted time and money. You should be all ashamed of yourselves.
Thank you. This is public input. Does anybody have anything they wish to say? I'm sorry, I don't remember your name.
I wanted to say this earlier, but I didn't have enough time, so I'm going to say it now. Your behavior is an embarrassment to this town. I'm sorry. It's absurd. And I'm going to tell you what I see in each one of you. Mr. Doucette, it appears you continually find these proceedings comical. There's always a snide smirk on your face, as if you find it humorous that you and the board have dangled the carrot in front of these two ladies, meaning Debbie and Kelly. Is this how you treat someone who lost a child? Is someone who's grieving, who's trying to make a difference? It's despicable. Mr. Retzlaff, you can't even look at them when they speak. You look at the ceiling, out the window, and you always have a scowl as if you're so bored, there's somewhere else you'd rather be, or thinking, not this again. Body language tells us a lot. And your lack of eye contact and squirming in your seat tells me that you're uncomfortable with being brought to your attention, and you know that you're wrong for dismissing their concerns. Mr. Cliff, you have good eye contact when you're not given little notes from Miss McDonald to snicker at while someone's speaking to you. However, it's clear that you're not looking at these women pouring their hearts out to you, but rather looking through them, waiting for their 3 minutes to be up, as you frequently remind them. I bet the Dugars would do anything to have 3 minutes with Ryan again. Mr. Gerbeck and Mr. Helwig, you both do a convincing job at appearing concerned, but your actions tell otherwise by your lack of support and empathy to the Duger family and what they're trying to do. And Mr. Gerbeck, you of any board member I'd expect more from. And on that note, Mr. Helwig and Mr. Doucette, you were the councilman going door to door to the residents of Kruger Road, spreading the misinformation. What's ironic, you also said, is that you were using a golf cart to navigate the neighborhood. Did you feel that it was too dangerous to walk on Kruger Road yourself? Did you? Okay, just too old and tired to do it?
Golf cart or a personal golf cart?
Shame on all of you.
David?
I'd just like to say thank you for considering all the town residents in your decisions. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Dave Collins. I live at the end of Kruger Road. I've lived in the town for 57 years. I grew up there as a child. It is a dangerous road, no doubt about it. I have raised 3 kids at that location, and I didn't let them out. If they were going across the street, even when they were in their teenage years, I walked them. I made sure they knew how to do it. Again, I live in the town. If people want sidewalks in front of their house, it should be a special district. It shouldn't be a burden to everybody. And I really want to thank you guys for not bowing to pressure like that. It's a tough situation you're in, and you guys are trying to make the best choice for everybody in the town, and you have to live with everybody in this town. I've seen it happen over and over again in the town, where a small group comes in and puts a lot of pressure on you and knows that they're right, but you got to consider everybody, like the 18,000 that are in the town. So I know there's going to be people who are angry with you, but thank you for considering everybody's opinion in the town. And if they want sidewalk, great. It should be a special district for the people in that area that are going to benefit. People in Burkholz, I know there's other special districts that are already paying for different things that they have in the town, and that's what it should be. So thanks for doing a good job from my point of view.
My name is Susan Agnello Eberwine. I'm a relatively new resident of Wheatfield. I've been here for, I think, 6 or 7 years now. And I came to Wheatfield because I liked the community. I liked the country atmosphere. I don't want to have sidewalks. I don't want to have things that a village has. I came to a town to enjoy a town. For what you men have gone through, to decide what to do tonight, it's been grueling. I know some of you personally, and I've watched what you've gone through, and I take great exception to a woman to stand up and personally persecute these men. And I think it's very sad that you did it. If you want to discipline someone...
So would you place your comments
Excuse
to
me.
the board,
If you
please?
want to discipline someone, you discipline them one-on-one, not in front of a whole bunch of people to get an applause. I think each of you have done an outstanding job. I don't believe we need sidewalks. We might need wider shoulders. I think that's a great idea. And my hat's off to every one of you for taking the time and spending the hours and talking to the people and taking a cart down Kruger Road so you could meet all these people quicker than walking door to door. Thank you, guys. You've done an outstanding job.
Sean, you never finished your thoughts before. Do you wish to continue that? Sean?
Yeah, sorry. My thoughts on this on Street Road Bridge. I was really trying to get to the bottom line. The bottom question is, what does the town support? Do they support a bridge, or do they support it being permanently closed? Because what I'm getting from the county is this whole process would be a lot quicker if the town agreed with the county. Because you guys, there appears to be a loggerhead here, their backfall is to do nothing. And that gets them out of trouble with everybody. Gets them out of trouble with their budget, gets them out of trouble with the town because it's only a temporary closure. I just wanted to, I mean, I'm acutely aware because of where I live and my communications with both the county and Paul. Because Paul's been great. Every time I called him, he says, Sean, we're doing the best we can. It's not our bridge. I called the county. They're not so, they're a little harder to get a hold of than our highway superintendent. But again, it seems to me that the shortest, I don't know how the people feel on the other side of the bridge. They don't seem to be complaining. There's Earl Volker down there and a few others. It's only an extra 500 foot to drive around. But people are turning around in my driveway every day. I just don't, from what I'm understanding, I am going to live with this temporary closure until I finally pester enough people that something gets done about it. And like I said, I'm just trying to get people involved in it. I'm not holding anybody responsible because right now it just seems to be easier to let this one go. It's that they tell me that bridge, out of all the bridges in the town, is the last bridge they're ever going to replace because it's not essential. So I just wanted to get the town in the loop on this and get an official statement on where you're at with it. So when I start to really go after the county about it, I can say the town's with me, or whatever I can say.
Maybe, Matt, what we could do is have a motion for next week, do a little homework with Paul on that, and see if we can go ahead with a board motion to ask the county to move that along?
Whatever it takes. I'm not familiar with how you guys have to navigate that, but
Yeah,
I'd
I was
appreciate
told by the new, whatever you call him, the new highway guy over there, that they were looking into grants, and they were not gonna be able to take that out of the standard budget. It would have to come out of a grant.
Yeah, but when you follow that question further, they say, as far as our concern on the grant list, it's at the very, very bottom.
That's possible.
Non-essential. So anyway, that's where it stands. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Rich, anything? We never got to you before.
No, sir, nothing.
Anybody have anything for Rich? Go ahead, Kelly.
I do want to thank you guys for at least trying to do something. These past few years has been really hard. I'm exhausted, and I've been fighting for this for a long time, and I've been doing everything I asked with my heart broken. I just ask that you guys please do the work this time around. I can't do it anymore. I don't have any fight left. My heart hurts, and I want everyone to be safe. And just please do something, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Anybody else? Sir?
My name is Mark Karcheski. I live on Town Line Road. I had 5 children that lived with me on Town Line Road since '83. They all went to Star Point, rode bikes, walked the roads, and I can tell you that I worried about them when they did that. Rode those bikes on those roads, and nothing happened to them. But 3 years ago, my youngest son lost his leg on a road that was well lit, 2 lanes both directions, turning lane, signals, lights, everything. He still lost his leg to a drunk driver. The roads and sidewalks had nothing to do with it. The lights had nothing to do with it. The guy was stoned out of his mind. He sheared my kid's leg right off. And I had to live through that. I still do live through that every day. And he suffers. He suffers today because of that. Thanks for doing what you could.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? As I mentioned, our next meeting is a week from today, July 17th. I will ask at this point for a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded.